Okay, hi again, Algebra guys, and welcome back to the second video in our lesson 8.6, where we're going to be solving quadratic equations by factoring. Now, I hope that, and it's important that you watched the prior video where we talked about what we call the zero product property and just how important that idea is, okay, because we're going to be using it in tandem with factoring here. So please do watch that video first so you can understand the wherefore, the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Why we're doing? Okay, why are we doing what we're doing? Okay, so we're gonna do 3 sample problems in this video. I picked 3 fairly easy ones. Okay, they're good introduction to these: 9, 12, and 15. Okay, and if you're in my class following along, these are 3 of your homework problems. Okay, so you're welcome for that. Okay, fairly easy ones. Okay. We're going to start off with one that's about as simple as it gets, okay? We're going to be solving for x here by factoring, and our equation is x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0, okay? So now, again, what do you notice that's kind of convenient or nice about the way this equation is set up? If you watched the prior video, you heard me talk about the importance of having these equations set equal to 0. So everything, the polynomial, trinomial, on one side, everything on one side set equal to 0. That's important. Okay, that's why this problem is a good one to start with, because that's already done for you. Okay, all right. Once that is done, which is done for you, your job is to factor it. Okay, your task is to factor this expression, this trinomial. Okay, so how does that expression factor? Okay, it factors as, hopefully you can all do this very easily by now, x and x. The numbers need to be what? To make 6 as a product and -5 as a sum, -3 and -2, right? Okay, that part should be easy. Almost a no-brainer. Okay, so we factored it. Now, I kind of did this on purpose this way because I showed you what a lot of students kind of lazily do sometimes, and that is to leave out the writing equals 0. Please do not leave that out. Make sure you're writing equation after equation after equation, okay? Complete equation all the way through. Don't forget to write equals 0, okay? That's one of my pet peeves, is when students forget to do that and they think, oh, I just need to factor the expression. On paper, I think it's important in math to show steps accurately, okay? In math, we're in the business of equivalent equation after equivalent equation after equivalent equation, okay? You've heard me say that many times in class, okay? And also, just don't be lazy, right? So write that out. Now, here's where we apply our zero product property, which says, again, what? If A times B equals 0, then either A is 0 or B is 0, okay? And our 2 factors here represent those metaphorical A and B, okay? All right, that's our A, that's our B. That's doing one thing too, right? So either this expression, x minus 3 equals 0, or this expression, x minus 2 equals 0, right? So what do we write? Literally, we write either x minus 3 is 0, or, okay, and make sure you do write that word or, that's important, that's the right word, or x minus 2 equals 0, okay? And now it's a simple matter of solving out each of those equations for x, okay? And you can show the little work where you can go plus 3, add 3 to both sides, but you can just do that in your head. X is 3, okay, that's one of your solutions. Or what? Or x is 2, okay? So there are your 2 solutions there. Now on paper, okay, this is a perfectly acceptable way, I think, to write the answer. 2-box solutions with the word or joining them. And again, let me show you, as I showed you in the last video, the way we kind of prefer you to more properly express that answer, which when you get into higher classes and higher levels, most textbooks and teachers and professors are going to encourage you and want you to write your answer using a little more technical, what we call solution set notation, which is going to consist of you drawing these braces. And again, I'm not the best graphic artist for braces. So that's a brace, and you list your 2 solutions in a set of braces like so, okay, separated by a comma, okay? So that's a 2 and that's a 3, okay? Why did I put the 2 first? Simply because least to greatest, okay? That's not ultra important for now, okay? But you'll see when I post my answer keys to these assignments, you'll see me write my answers in that form using, again, what we call solution. It's called solution set notation, okay? So that's the solution set, 2 and 3. And again, I just want to reiterate that idea I talked about in the first video, which is that, yeah, you're going to get 2 solutions here with a quadratic equation. Again, degree 2, x is squared, degree 2, you can expect 2 solutions, okay? We'll look at some examples down the road where that isn't quite the case. There are some nuances to that, but that's the basic idea, okay? So that was number 9. Let's move on to number 12, okay? All right, thanks for bearing with me here. And one of these days soon, I'm gonna make a little run to office supply store and get a larger whiteboard. I actually have a new iPad Pro on the way, so I can do a lot of this digitally just on the screen. Hope you'll enjoy that. Okay, we'll see how that goes down. Okay, we're gonna do number 12. Okay, number 12. We've got here x squared plus 2x equals 15. Okay, good. So this is kind of like the next step. This problem represents, okay, here's the next thing you have to maybe deal with, okay? So we have a quadratic equation here, but what do we notice about this equation that's slightly different from the prior problem we just did? It is not yet set to 0, right? Not everything is set to 0. So hear me now, that is your first task. That is critical that your first task before you begin factoring anything is to get all terms on one side, set it all equal to 0, okay? So our first task here is to subtract 15 from both sides, okay? That's critical. So now what do we have? We rewrite the equation, x squared plus 2x minus 15 equals 0, okay? That's where we want it to be. Now we are ready to factor. So we're gonna factor this trinomial, okay? Don't forget again to write equals 0. Let's factor it, x and x. What must our two numbers be? We got to make negative 15 as a product. We got to make positive 2 as a sum. Okay, the numbers, the way I do it is always think the numbers first, a 5 and a 3, right? Has to be, and then I do the signs. I like to seal the deal with the signs. That's the way I've kind of taught you in class. That's the way I think about it, okay? The signs have to be positive on the 5, right? And negative on the 3, okay? I know, I'm sure that makes sense to all of you now because you're experts at factoring by now, I hope. Okay, and then what do? This is important. This is the importance of the zero product property. We take each factor and set each factor equal to 0. So we have either x plus 5 equals 0. And then what's that word we're going to write? Not and, but or. Okay, and if you're wondering, well, why is that word or so important? I will get into that in a later video, okay? But the word or is the right word, okay? Or x minus 3 is 0, okay? And then let's solve each of those little kind of miniature equations, subtracting 5 from both sides. We get x is negative 5, or x is 3, okay? Again, there are your two solutions, okay? You'll notice that if you did plug each of those values back into the original equation, both would check out. Let me just do that for you. You don't have to do this on paper, okay? If you're confident in your work, okay, you're confident in your factoring, you're kind of self-checking as you go. I'm okay with that, okay? But it never hurts to check your solutions and plug them back in, okay? Let's just do that, just kind of for fun's sake, okay? Just to illustrate that you can, of course, check your solutions. Plugging in negative 5 back in for x, negative 5 squared is 25, right? Then we have plus 2 times negative 5, so that would be minus 10. So 25 minus 10 equals 15. Yep, that answer checks out, okay? All right, and again, if your factoring is correct, these answers will check out, okay? There's not a crucial need to double check your answers in terms of like, well, are they gonna work out or not? If your factoring is correct and you've solved these correct, they're gonna check. But okay, let's check the second one. X is 3, 3 squared is 9, plus 2 times 3, which would be 6 more, is 15. So that answer checks as well, okay? And again, I've run out of room on my whiteboard to express the answer the way I really like you to express it. And I don't like to be messy and squeeze it in, but how would I like you to express those two solutions? Again, in the braces solution set, okay? Preferably listing the lesser number first, so negative 5, and then a comma, and then 3, and then close brace, okay? And so that's how you do that one. So just to reiterate, before I erase this, okay, what was our first important step there? You gotta subtract that 15 from both sides. You gotta set everything equal to 0. Then you factor, okay? Let's do one more in this video, okay? Thanks for bearing with. This video is a little lengthier than usual, okay? But I wanted to show you kind of 3 problems here to at least to get you warmed up and get you comfortable with doing these, okay? And then I'll probably do, after this video, I'll probably do one more to show you these are all kind of easy problems. I'll do one more video where I show you some kind of more medium level, a little more, slightly more challenging, okay? All right, so number 15 now. All right, so 15 in our textbook says, okay, x squared plus 36, I believe, equals, 12x, okay, yep. All right, okay, so again, how are we set up here? Are we set to 0 yet? No, we're not set to 0 yet. So what's our first task? Okay, we've got to set everything equal to 0, okay? So we've got to subtract that 12x from both sides, okay? All right, now as we're rewriting the equation here, how are we going to sequence this trinomial, okay? It's important that you sequence it in descending order as you normally would, okay? So x squared, then minus 12x, then plus 36, and then equals 0, okay? Hope you follow everything up to there, okay? All right, now we're going to factor this trinomial, okay? But what is it that I want you, or we, any math teacher would want you to see? This trinomial fits a special pattern, which hopefully you are recognizing by this point, okay? It's important that you do. And if you're not recognizing this special pattern yet, go back and review some of the prior chapter special patterns, okay? On difference of squares and perfect square trinomials, okay? What is this special pattern? It is, as hopefully you'll see, a perfect square trinomial, right? That's a square, and this is double the product of the two roots of those two squares. It is a PST, as I like to call it, perfect square trinomial, okay? How does that PST factor? You should realize by now it factors simply as x minus 6 squared, right? Equals 0, okay? We want you to see that, okay? Rather than writing out x minus 6 times x minus 6 equals 0, I'd like you to write it correctly, factored form, x minus 6 squared using the exponent, okay? All right, now, so what's the deal, okay? Well, that factor is essentially a factor twice, right? It's multiplying times itself. So you only need to solve it out once, okay? What's your solution gonna be? If x minus 6 is 0, okay, or x minus 6 is 0 would be the other statement, but that's the same statement. What's your solution? X is 6, and just 6. So we get one answer this time, okay? One answer this time. But let's go back to something I was talking about a video or so ago about the fundamental theorem of algebra, okay? We talked about how when the degree is 2, you can expect to have two answers, two solutions, but I said there was some nuance to that. Here's one of those nuances, okay? We have one and only one real solution here. X is 6, okay? But where did that come from? It came from a perfect square trinomial. That solution came from a factor that was a factor twice, right? So this is something you don't need to know for now, not in this class, not at this level, not in Algebra 1, but in Algebra 2 and on up from there, you're going to learn that what we would say here is that this is a solution, x is 6, with a multiplicity of, let me spell this right, multiplicity of 2, meaning it's a solution twice. So it does conform to that fundamental theorem of algebra that whatever the degree is, that's the number of solutions you get. We get that solution, we just get it twice, okay? Now, again, you don't have to kind of burden yourself with keeping track of all that, but although that is correct, okay? You just need to write the solution x is 6, okay? And if you want to do it using the braces, okay, you just put the number in there by itself, all alone, just good old 6 in there, okay? Hope you can see everything. I hope that has all made sense, and I hope that gives you enough of a foundation to get started and work through most of this lesson. I'll post another video later. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye.